They say miracles happen when you least expect them, but in this village on this cold winter night, no one was even hoping anymore. Snow fell softly on the broken roads. Streetlights flickered like they were tired of shining, and behind closed doors, hearts were heavy with worries no one spoke aloud. This was a village where dreams used to live. But this winter, something had changed. Shazia pulled her shawl tighter around her shoulders as she stepped outside her small house. Her breath formed clouds in the icy air. In her hands, she held a small empty basket. Every evening, she walked the same path. Past the old bakery, past the silent school, past the quiet homes. Looking for work she already knew she would not find. Her husband had passed 2 years ago. Since then, every winter felt colder than the last. And this winter was the hardest of all. Inside her house, her 2 children sat wrapped in thin blankets. They tried to smile when she left. They tried to be brave, but children can feel hunger even when they don't speak of it. That night, the village was preparing for Christmas. Lights were being hung in only a few homes now. Most families could not afford joy anymore. Shazia reached the small shop near the square. The owner shook his head gently before she even spoke. "No work today," he said softly. She smiled anyway. "Thank you," she whispered as she turned back. Her eyes fell on the large Christmas tree standing in the center of the square. It was half decorated. Some branches were bare. Some lights did not work. The village used to gather here every year. Children singing, families laughing, warm food shared between neighbors. Now the square felt empty. Shazia slowly walked back. Home. She did not see the man watching her from across the street. No one really noticed him at first. He had arrived in the village 3 days ago, quiet, well-dressed, always. Walking alone. Some said he was a businessman. Others said he was a traveler. A few whispered that people like him never came without a reason, but no one truly knew who he was. That night, as Shazia entered her home, she found her youngest daughter staring at the ceiling. "Amy, will Sana come to our house this year?" the child asked softly. Shazia's heart tightened. She forced a smile. "Of course he will," she said. "He always finds his way." But deep inside, she wasn't sure anymore. The next morning, the village woke to another cold day. The sky was gray, the wind sharp. People went about their lives quietly. The bakery owner counted unsold bread. The school teacher cleaned empty classrooms. The butcher locked his shop early. And through it all, the stranger walked. He entered each street slowly. He observed everything. The cracked walls, the silent houses, the tired faces. At the edge of the village, an old man slept on a wooden bench outside his broken home. The stranger stopped, placed a blanket gently over him, and walked on. No one saw that either. By evening, something strange began to happen. Small things, almost invisible. The baker found an envelope under his door with enough money to bake bread for a full day. The school received new books, stacked quietly at the gate. The butcher discovered his debts paid in full without a name. By sunset, whispers filled the air. "Did this happen to you too?" "Someone paid my loan. I found food outside my door." Fear mixed with wonder, and then the stranger knocked on Shazia's door. She opened it slowly, cautious. He smiled gently. "I heard you were looking for work." She hesitated. "Yes, I was." He looked inside, at the thin blankets, at the 2 children sitting close together. "I need help preparing something tonight," he said. "For the village?" She did not understand, but she nodded. An hour later, the square was alive in a way it hadn't been in years. Lights were being fixed, the broken decorations replaced. Food tables appeared as if from nowhere. Villagers walked out of their homes in disbelief. The baker brought fresh bread. The butcher brought warm dishes. The teacher guided children into lines of songs, and the stranger stood quietly at the center. Watching it all come together, Shazia helped serve food. Her children laughed for the first time in months. Snow began to fall again. Gently dot candles were lit. Voices rose in songs that had almost been forgotten. And then the stranger stepped forward. "My name does not matter," he said softly. "But this village gave me something many years ago. When I had nothing, the crowd grew silent. In this very place, a woman once fed me when I was starving. A teacher once taught me when I had no books. A family once gave me shelter when I had no home." Tears filled the old teacher's eyes. The baker covered his mouth. Shazia felt her breath stop. "I left this village as a poor boy," the stranger continued. "Today, I returned as someone who finally had enough to give back." Silence fell. Then, applause rose. Slow at first, then louder, but the stranger raised his hand. "One more thing remains." He turned to Shazia. "You kept walking, even when hope was heavy. You never begged. You only tried." He placed a small key in her hand. "A shop. For you." Shazia froze, her knees weakened. Tears streamed down her face as the crowd gasped. "For your children," he said softly. Her daughter ran forward and hugged his legs. Snow fell harder now, like the sky itself was celebrating. That night, the village did not sleep. Food was shared. Stories were told. Laughter returned, and for the first time in many years, no child went to bed hungry on Christmas Eve. Just before midnight, the stranger quietly left the square. No speeches. No goodbyes. Only footprints in the snow. By morning, he was gone, but what he left behind stayed. Shazia opened her shop weeks later. The bakery thrived again. The school filled with children's voices. And every year when Christmas returned, the village told the same story. Not of sauna, not of magic, but of a quiet man who remembered kindness and came back to repay it when the village needed it most. Because sometimes the greatest miracles do not fall from the sky. They walk quietly among us. And they leave without ever asking to be remembered.